Welcome to the Community Validator Call. I'm going to just flip over and make it possible for people to see this screen in case there's useful information, and hopefully most of this call will be relevant conversation as it comes up. So I'll do a quick run through of this, and then I'll hand it over to you, Joe, and then anybody else who wants to. So some updates here. Where the team at Vitwit has put together this amazing leaderboard, which I would encourage everybody to look at, which sort of has the past points and how they relate to token allocation, which is pretty useful in planning. And also the leaderboard is part of a bigger tool that Vitwit is has put together with Faucet and an Explorer. So it's pretty great. And then I just finished up a blog explaining the points to token conversion and the conversation we've been having around that. So people can tune into that. I also just posted that in the DVD channel. And hey, we're just about to get cooking with the Chainflow testnet, and GenTX is due tomorrow, 900 UTC. If you don't get it in by then, you won't be in the Genesis file. You can still participate in the testnet, but you just won't be there at Genesis, which is incentivized. So if you want all the points, get your GenTX in. We were just having a conversation about there's a gap between GenTX being due and the Genesis release time. And Joe, maybe you want to speak to our learnings in the last testnet about that and why we sort of made that modification?
Yes, sure. So the reason for the gap, I hope it was intended, because if it wasn't, then it's just amazingly good fortune. But essentially, the GenTX process is it's currently not very well tooled. It's fraught with errors. There's no way when you generate a GenTX transaction of being able to reliably test that everything's okay. This is a problem because when it comes to putting it together, A, it's a very manual process, and B, if you have one failed transaction out of 50 validators in the Genesis file, it's very, very difficult to find which one is actually the broken one. Assuming there's only one, which is the problem last time, is that there was two or three possibly, and so the process of elimination of trial and error of going through and taking one out at a time didn't work, which is why it took 3 hours. So what we've done this time, firstly, I ended up last time writing a tool because it was quicker than actually doing the manual process, which I will use again tomorrow. And that will tell me straight away whether there is a GenTX transaction that is invalid. Now, given that Greg has chosen insanely difficult to spell and pronounce names for the testnets, I suspect there probably will be one or two that don't match. That's partly because the testnet name is part of the signed transaction. So if that's wrong, then it won't work. So if there's any wrong, I will blame Greg squarely for that one. But essentially the gist of it is that I will start compiling this at 0900 UTC, and hopefully by 1000 at the latest, I will be able to tell people who have invalid transactions, if there are indeed any, that's who's that? Thank you, whoever that was. I could hear myself and it was nasty. Yeah, so by 10 o'clock UTC, we should have some indication of if there are any failed transactions. I will personally ping you on both GitHub and hopefully in the Telegram channel, assuming I can equate the two, to let you know that there's a problem, and you will have until 1400 UTC to resubmit multiple times if need be. If someone responds with a fixed transaction, I'll try it as soon as I can. I'm around all day, so hopefully we'll be able to get everybody in. And if there are any issues, we're not going to end up with the situation that we had last time, where people have to be excluded from the Genesis file. That's not what we want. We want as many Genesis validators online as possible. So that's the plan. By 1600 UTC tomorrow, you will have a Genesis file. It will be located in the. Hello, cat. It will be located in the. Anything else now? This is Lincoln, by the way, named after Abraham. Yeah, so in the testnet repo where all the instructions live, the Genesis file will be located in there, and I'll paste the link to it in the Telegram channel.
Cool.
Does anybody have any questions around the Genesis process? Good.
Well,
Excellent.
we have been through the experience so many times that
Yeah,
it's so...
I know, but you think that given that we would be able to do a Genesis process where there weren't failed transactions, but I've not had one yet that hasn't. So, but no, it's yeah. Hopefully, it will be a little less stressful than last time.
Yeah.
How many Genesis files do you expect to have for this testnet?
There should only be one.
Hmm?
Yeah, how many Genesis transactions?
Yeah.
So I don't recall what the current status of that is. I can have a quick check. I believe it's around 30 or so at the moment. Is that right?
There were 35.
35. Cool. And that's not including mine because I've not done mine yet.
I would guess, I mean, we had 49 active participants in the last testnet. They didn't all participate in Genesis. My guess is it'll be somewhere around that, maybe a little more since we're testing CosmWasm, and there seems to be sort of broad community excitement and other projects that may want to participate in order to learn about the tool available. So, I mean, I'm guessing we'll be somewhere around 50.
Mm-hmm. Where is the tweet out in which you say you have 500,000 tokens left for the testnets?
Well, for this one, there's 200,000 for this testnet, and then 500,000 after that. I'll tweet that soon. I just wrote that blog like 20 minutes ago, so.
I know.
I love it. You're keep on me, drill sergeant.
Yeah, hold him to account. Okay, so there's currently 39 pull requests. One of those is actually somewhat concerningly a fix to the instructions about how to generate a GenTX transaction, because the chain ID was wrong. So I'm expecting this to cause us all manner of issues. What I will do after this call, probably in a couple of hours' time, is actually run through the transactions that currently exist. So I'll do a slightly earlier check than I would have done otherwise, and let anyone know who fails that check.
That's my fault because I used Esperanto.
Well, in the instructions, the chain ID hasn't changed from algorithm 1. So anyone who's used the instructions could possibly have a dodgy.
Yeah, I saw some chatter about that in the DVD channel.
Okay, well, I'll test them early and I'll catch the ones that are broken and let people know.
Yeah,
Thanks,
this
John.
instruction doc is for setting up running the node after Genesis file, so it is in progress.
Yes, but if you init with the wrong chain ID, then your signature will be wrong.
No, signature generation instructions are correct. This is for
Oh, he's just taking up the note. Okay. Well, hopefully we'll have missed that then.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll see how that. Thank you both. Let me just see here if there's anything else. Sorry, I got signed out of the Google.
Yeah, we should have in excess of 40 Genesis validators, hopefully.
Which is great. It's exciting. Let me see here. Yeah, that's all I had in the slideshow. So now it's just kind of like open for questions. I know there'd been some questions about contracts that we're using and that process, and anything else, just open it up to any questions or comments or concerns that people might have as we're moving forward.
How long do you estimate this testnet to run? I don't know if I remember this correctly.
I think we estimated for it to run until sometime around the 13th of April, and some flexibility there because we'll be doing, load testing and some fun adversarial things in that phase. So it may run a little longer, but that's the estimate, about a month.
Mm-hmm.
And phase 1 goes until March 16th, it looks like. Is that the
Yeah, I can read off the
Yeah, it says get off the ground. It starts the 13th, and then phase 2 starts the 16th.
Yep. Yeah, and then in terms of like thinking about when contracts are going to be start being relevant, that's phase 2. So the 16th of March, there'll be an ERC20 token contract that people can deploy. And at that point, the way that the scoring has been set up by the sort of lead validator crew is based on, like, there'll be a contract ready to deploy, so people just need to grab it and deploy it. And it's based on when you get it on live on the network, essentially. So it's just sort of a race to get the contract up and running.
There's going to be like a tutor, a guide for do it.
Yeah, we'll do our best to have good, clean documentation about that. There is already Ethan Fry has put together some nice documentation on deploying these specific contracts in the CosmWasm ecosystem. So we're sort of going to do our best to have all that information clear. And as usual, we're gonna do our best to get out that in the dev channel, just like, the update will come out and it should have clear documentation and instructions. And if you run into something that doesn't make sense, let us know and we'll try to fix it.
Mm-hmm. How did you come up with the division of tokens for each testnet? I mean, it's about difficulty, but did you have another reason in mind when you?
Well, I was also thinking about in the earliest testnet, we had many fewer validators. So my goal to have the first validators like handsomely compensated was met because there's so many less actual like total points. So it felt like people got a pretty fair, got a good token distribution. And then, we're ratcheting things up in difficulty and importance. And then after CosmWasm, in 6 weeks or 2 months, we're going to start the testnet with something that's very close to what we're wanting to launch mainnet with. And at that point, it gets even more important the testnets get more and more important. So we wanted to maintain a good, healthy set of tokens to reward people who are working with us up until the end as well. And hopefully that's a helpful context. Does looking at it feel good, fair, Adriana?
I have not made any calculation. I was just reading through the post now.
If you go to the leaderboard that there's a link to in that post that Anil and the Vitwit team put together, you can toggle between how many points and how many tokens you've earned. So you can actually go back and forth. It's quite cool.
Nice. I'll do that. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah.
Anybody got any other questions relating to the Contrail testnet?
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Cool. Anything else from you, Greg? Feels very short and sweet. I was expecting there to be a lot more questions.
Yeah, short and sweet. I mean, I'm sure that there's going to be more questions in the DVD channel as we start getting going. That'd be my guess. So, I mean, I don't have anything. I guess we'll see how it shakes out. We got, 40, looks like we have about 40 Gen TXs, and I'll expect more as we get up to the deadline, and really excited about things. I'm going to do my best to sort of just be cross-posting and staying on top of things, and Anil and Joe and Chris will all hopefully be pretty present to help answer questions as we sort of go through some of the key thresholds in the testnet, and we'll see how we do. It's uncharted territory. First ever.
Very excited. It's very excited. It's very excited for Argentina to finally get this to testnet.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank
It's
you.
It's going to be very important for the Cosmos.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I mean, first sort of general purpose, smart contracting, proof of stake in the Cosmos world, at least. I know the substrate side of things has, has been doing some stuff. But so, yeah, it's very exciting. So let's see how it goes.
Yeah, I cannot wait, actually.
Right.
We'll stay in house, right? We are under quarantine, and we will be playing the Regen Incentivized Testnet, right, for 1 month.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll double down and try to make it even more fun since everybody's going to have more time.
Yeah, I mean, in Bucharest, they have discussed today to install quarantine for 2 weeks. That means that no one gets in, no one gets out. So everybody will have plenty of time to do incentivized testnets, right?
Geek out. To geek out.
That's what you need to tweet out this evening. Then Greg is say anyone who's locked indoors, come sign up for Genesis.
Totally. That's a good. I mean, I'll get on top of that.
I mean, maybe it's a bit soon to make jokes about it. But.
Yeah, I mean, one great post will be: do you stay in house under quarantine and get bored? Look what we have prepared for you. Unincentivized testnet. Get on board.
Earn while you learn and don't go out.
And don't get bored.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, if there's nothing else, then I think that's the end of the call, isn't it?
I think that's a good place to call it. Thanks everybody for coming. Let us know if you've got questions. And as always, we'll see you in the Telegram channel and on the interwebs, and look forward to launching this thing shortly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
I'll be getting a tweet out to announce everybody about how many tokens are for this testnet, just to make sure they don't miss out.
Great.
Thanks.
Thanks guys. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.